welcome to the Sports Show with Bob Spino, where 67 teams will find the end of their dreams, crowning but one NCAA Tournament champion in March Madness. Here we go again, Bob. What's going on, brother? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, man. This has been too long. I miss you like crazy. How are you, Rob?
Hello, and welcome to the Sports Show. Oh, we're getting a little interference, Bobby. Give me a second, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I'm doing great. I'm really doing well. I'm a little bummed out, like you are, to be in
Yeah.
non-tournament status with Syracuse. I know UCLA didn't make it. So
No.
what's your perspectives for the future for UCLA basketball?
Well, we got to start drafting or recruiting players that are, 4 and 5 star. We haven't done that in a while. We're actually going to Europe, and we thought we were going to pull it off because we took 3 guys from Europe that are supposedly NBA bound, but they're not ready. I mean, Bona was our best player, and he was already there from last year. But Cronin's going to either have to step up or leave because he's not recruiting the right players. And now we're going into the Big Ten, so that should help him a little bit. But he's got to start recruiting these big players. UCLA needs to stop worrying about, all this Princeton stuff where they all have to be brains. Look, I'm gonna give it to you straight because it's my show. Most players aren't brains, but they never were meant to be. They're meant to be players, and colleges should be helping them to achieve that. And UCLA is failing miserably, over the last few years, and it's terrible. I know Cronin got us to a Final Four, but those kids were Alford's kids. They were Steve's kids. So, I mean, what we need to do is to start recruiting much better, and he needs to not pull back, but he needs to step up on our offense. He's pulling our offense back. We need to score. Scoring wins. You still got to outscore the other team, and he's not doing that. We're playing too much D and no O. That's not good either. I'd rather have a team that scores. And I said this a million times. When the Celtics used to win the championships in the 60s and 70s, they always led the league in offense, not defense. They were just on defense. Chicago Bulls used to be in the top 3 long before Jordan, and they didn't win nothing until Jordan got there, until they started scoring. So it's about scoring, and we don't do it, and that's why we're not in. What about Syracuse, Rob?
Well, before we go into Syracuse, I'm just curious. UCLA is heading into the Big Ten, and that's
Yeah,
gonna affect all your sports, obviously.
right.
But what do you think the impact is going to be on basketball specifically going into the Big Ten?
Well, they're trying to condense it. They're trying to make super conferences and not have all these other, smaller ones around. And I guess they feel that that'll make, everybody have a chance. But honestly, the weaker schools that go into a big conference are going to get swallowed up. They're not going to get players. They're not going to, they didn't before, and now they'll whatever, they chance they had to get one, the bigger teams are going to get it. So I don't really think that's going to make that much of a difference with the little teams anyway. Uh, the big names like SC in football, UCLA in basketball, yeah, it's going to help them because now they have more of an open window to get, different kids and from around the country. And also now this portal is actually helping. And I'll tell you, look, Rob, I know we talked about this before, but I don't believe the players should be paid and all this portal stuff. You were for it, I was against it. And it seems to me that it's kind of ruined things. And I suspected this would happen. It's because playing basketball is a privilege, not a job. And these kids are getting too greedy and they just wanted a piece of the pie. But you know what? It's not your pie to eat. That's the part they forgot. But, I don't, I'm not a big fan of it. But I do think that our basketball team will be okay. I think, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I think we should get rid of Cronin. I mean, I'm UCLA and I'm saying it. I think we should get rid of him. Um, but we got rid of Kelly, and I know he had a good year this year, in football, but he wasn't drafting or recruiting 5 stars either. Matter of fact, he wasn't even taking 3 stars in. He was taking the kind of player he personally liked. He thought it was good for his offense. It didn't work. It's great to have an offense and have guys run your system, but you still need the talent. And if you're not getting the best talent, how are you going to win? You're not. And talent's first. Coach Wooden used to say, you got to be talented or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got to have talent, and that's true. But I don't know. I don't think it's gonna help our football team, but it's definitely gonna help our basketball team. And us getting rid of Cronin's even gonna help that further. And eventually he will be gone. And they're gonna play Rutgers this coming year. I'm going. I'll let you know, Rob. If you want a ticket, I'll get you one because they're coming to New Jersey.
Well, I probably will be in South Florida at that time, Bobby, but I appreciate the invite. I
Mhm.
think, and I don't want to get into too much football, but I think
Right.
Chip Kelly just really wasn't a good fit for
No,
UCLA.
no,
Like you said, the recruiting wasn't there.
right,
And maybe he was a man of his time with Oregon, 20, 15, 20 years ago
right,
when his system was really innovative and novel. And the game has evolved, and I don't know if he's the right man for the job anymore. But he's obviously highly touted still because he got the OC job at Ohio State. So he'll get another opportunity to run his offense again.
right.
But as far as basketball goes, Bob, that's the thing. I do support the players getting paid. I think they do deserve a piece of the pie. The problem I have is now we're in this situation where it's the wild, wild west, and everyone's
Mhm.
a mercenary, and there's no structure involved. So it's
Yeah,
just, you
yeah,
know, who can get their bag, and the biggest bag, and wheeling and dealing between schools. Case in
right,
point, Syracuse's center last year, Jesse Edwards. Uh, we offered him NIL money, and he knew what that was, obviously. But he went to another school, and they made a higher offer, and he came back to Syracuse and said, okay, I got a higher offer. Can you match it? Syracuse did match it, so he was going to stay. But then he went to another school. Well, his father did, actually, West Virginia, and they topped that second offer. And so he went back to Syracuse and says, "I got another offer. Can you beat it?" And Syracuse basically said, "You're not acting in good faith. We can't. We're not gonna offer another counter offer. We already countered the offer the first time when you went and got another higher offer. So." Yeah, that kind of thing is running rampant, and with no structure, no system in place to regulate it. And I'm not saying the government has to be the regulator. There just needs to be something in place.
right.
You're going to just have this mercenary game, and like you're already seeing with Syracuse's roster, we're already losing players to the portal today, and we potentially could be looking at yearly annual roster overhauls. St.
Well,
John's
that's
trying to
right.
do it.
I mean, how can you coach it when these guys aren't even staying long enough for you to coach it? You know, but um, and you know what? And they're staying longer in school. They don't want to go pro if they're a so-so player. They're getting paid more in school than they would in the pros. They'll take a pay cut and they get into the pros now. It's getting to that point with some of them anyway. The stars, no, they'll get it, but the lesser players, they're going to get more in college than they're going to get in the pros. Why leave? Let's go on the 10-year plan. I mean, they're getting a good pay.
Oh, I have
It's
no doubt our point guard Judah Mintz is likely going to make more in college than
been in the pros.
foreseeably could make in the NBA because as it stands, he doesn't seem to have NBA stock. But
Right,
he's gonna. I'm assuming he's looking to get a high bigger offers,
right.
and it's just where does that end? I mean, and then what really changes? I mean, we know who's going to keep paying for the players, the same big schools, the same big money bags, but
Right.
uh, we're going to look at multi-million-dollar collegiate contracts now. I don't know. It's I don't know where the end stage of this goes to where it stabilizes,
Right.
but as it stands, it's pure chaos.
You said three players you're losing to the portal. Is that what you said?
So far, two have announced. There's speculation more will also go.
Mhm.
I'm kind of ambivalent to it because I just see the writing on the wall. You have to assume with NIL money that massive roster overhauls are going to happen every season.
Right.
You're basically going to look at mostly a new team every year, and that's a whole totally different look than what we were accustomed to, where players would stay for a couple of years and you would follow them and they'd be part of your team. But again, it's a mercenary game now. It's who can you get the best you can, pay them as much as
Mhm.
you can, and hope for the best,
Right.
and roll the ball out.
Well, the players were they good players for you?
Yeah, well, I'd say one did not live up to expectations, and not surprising that he left. The
Mhm.
other, the other was seemingly a rising star. I thought I was a bit surprised to see him go.
Mhm.
The two players, Justin Taylor and Quadir Copeland. But again, I do anticipate some more might leave. Hopefully not. I mean, I'd like to see these players stay and grow. I mean, they were still pretty young. We still won 20 wins. We still had 20 wins despite the youth and the turnover we had in terms of dismissing cancer on the team, Benny Williams, and we also lost our three centers to injury. We didn't have a center at all. So the reason we didn't get in the tournament was this foolish metric called the net. And frankly, Bob, like why are we using a metric that that supports the amount you win and lose by as opposed to actual wins and losses? Okay.
You know why? Because it's a twisted mentality of the human race, right? In today's world, we are so confused right now. It's spilling into our sports, and it's so disgusting to see it. Look, it honestly, I said this before. I've never liked the conference tournaments, never, and I honestly think that the first place teams and the second place teams should make it. That's it. The better record should make it. And why should you? A good example. I went to the DePaul game the other day. Okay, and they were 3-28. Okay, and they were winning like against Villanova, and they, you know, my friend, that was the third game of the night because we saw three games of the Garden that day, and he goes, Bob, Villanova's going to kill them if this thing gets out of hand. You want to leave at halftime? I go, it was a long day, and I never leave a game. I go, yeah, okay, we'll do it. So, but we couldn't leave, Rob, because they stayed in the game. And not only that, they were winning by 2 with 40 seconds to go. That would have been like one of the biggest upsets I've ever seen in tournament play, where a 3-win team, 3 wins. I've seen 6, 7, but not 3. That was pathetic. And at the end of the game, here's the kicker. Like, we're watching the game, and he's like, first of all, DePaul comes down with 40 seconds to go and up 2 with the ball. They turn the ball over. So Villanova calls timeout, and they bring the ball in, and they're kicking it around. He gets down like 20 seconds. And before he took the shot, my friend looked at me and goes, you think they're going to go to the basket on this last drive? What would you do? I go, I don't, or do you think they're going to take a 3? I go, they're going to take a 3. He goes, I don't know. And, this guy that I was with, he played ball with all the, a lot of pros, and, Danny Hurley and Sean Miller, and he was a great player himself. And I said, no, you're wrong. And he goes, I said, they're going to take a 3 because he goes, but I would go to the basket. I go, well, that's technically right, but that's not what they're going to do. That's why you're wrong. Because today's mentality is so messed up that he's going to take a 3. And they were missing threes, Villanova, the whole game, like really missing them bad. They shot like 20% for the game. And like, he goes, but they're so much better than DePaul. If they get them overtime, they're going to beat them. I go, I know, but they don't know that. They're going to take a 3. They kicked it around, Rob, and the guy bags a 3 with 8 seconds to go, and they win the game by 1 point. And, but it's just the whole idea how backward these people today and these sports people today think. It's just amazing to me. It's just, it's there's so much confusion. I mean, I'm going up before the game. These 2 guys, one guy gave me a hard time in line. He was trying to be a hard guy. He's just like, oh, do you even know who's who? Because I heard him say something about Seton Hall and St. John's. And I said, yeah. And he goes, who's the best coach in the Big East? And I said, Pitino. And Danny Hurley's probably second. And he goes, well, what about Holloway? You do know who he is, right? And I go, let me tell you something. I go, I worked at ESPN. I think I know who the guy is. Right. And then I go, and you think I don't know anything? You think I'm an idiot? Well, I'm not. And I'm gonna school you right now. And his friends started laughing. And I started like blasting him. Right. And then and I said, I go, you know what the problem is with these kids? They take too many threes. They all think they're Steph Curry, and they're not. And he goes, well, you know what? It's analytics, baby. I go, analytics, baby. And I go, I met somebody over the summer, an NFL guy who just got an analytics job in New York City. And he told me he was analytics, young kid. And I said, oh, you're the guy messing up our game. Thanks. You're the guy you're the guy we can blame. And you're doing it in every sport. I go, don't you realize 30% from 3 is not as good as going to the basket and making 60 to 70% of your shots? I go, you know what? I go, let me explain this to you. If you shoot 30 to 35%, that means 65 to 70% you're missing. I go, these kids coming out of school now, they don't know nothing about sports. They do know how to add, but apparently they don't, because in their backward minds, 35% is better than 70% if you go to the basket. How? I have no idea. Like, well, these guys are just a bunch of stupid mathematicians that studied the book a little too hard to the point where they're confused. They don't even know the number one from the number two. And he just shut up. He was like, I go, 70% and 80%? Down low is a whole. Think about how many shots and points you can make as compared to all the misses from three, especially on a night when you're not making them. That's how you lose games. And like, it was almost like a revelation to the kid or the guy, because he's just like, oh, really? And because he didn't. It's almost like he didn't even understand it, But I had fun. The 3 nights I went 3 nights, and I had a lot of fun. And Rob, I know you're not going to like this, but I text you during the tournament. You remember when I was there. But Connecticut, no one's beating them. St. John's played their tail off, scored 90 points, and lost by 5. They are a machine.
It pains
they
me
can beat you
tremendously,
so many
Bob,
ways.
to have to say that UConn is going to win the title here on the show, because that's who I'm picking to be the champion.
Yes, I know, Rob,
a
but you're picking
tragedy
it.
of epic proportions. But
yes, I know, but you're picking it under the pain of not wanting them to.
it's just the reality of the situation we're dealing
Yes.
with. UConn
Yes.
is the best team, and they're probably going to win.
Yeah, well,
right.
Yeah. I can't see any other scenario. It would take a game like Villanova against Georgetown when Ewing was there, where they shot like 90% in the second half and 84% for the game, Villanova, to beat them. And then we beat them by 1 point or 2 points, whatever it was. Yeah. No, you have to play a perfect game. And they can beat you so many ways. That guard is so good. He can make everything. And whenever St. John's made a run, Connecticut never panicked. There's like, oh, okay, that's nice. You got a couple points. Well, just watch this beautiful pass and watch this dunk and watch this 3 and, knock me down while I still hit the game-winning shot, because we just can't be stopped. We're the best. And they really are. I can't, and we're going to get into picks and all a little bit here, but I guess I kind of gave mine away, and you gave yours away, but nobody is as good as UConn. I cannot see them losing. I'd be totally shocked. Totally. And I know you'd be totally happy, but I mean, I just can't see it, Rob. I can't.
I mean, I can't either, unfortunately. But going back to your previous point, the game is still won inside. The best teams still have the best inside game.
Yes. Absolutely.
And my beef with the analytics is there should not be any metric applied that punishes you for winning. Okay. Right. The net can punish you for winning. Your net can get worse if you only win by 4, and it's at home. The quad system, that's a joke of a thing.
Yeah, it's flawed.
Oh, going into the game, if you win, it's a quad 1 win. But then you win, and the team that loses drops to quad 2, and it's not a quad 1 win anymore. It's absolutely asinine. There has to be a bit of the qualitative aspect of this game. Okay, subjectively, the major programs are going to have better teams. That's. It's self-evident. There's a sufficient amount of data over the years to know that there's certain teams and programs and conferences that are going to do better, and that needs to be applied. And I think if you're going to have a metric, Bob, really, what is it going to boil down to?
My metric on it, Rob, is simple. If you go, especially on the road, you talk about Syracuse, if you play a tough team and you beat them, that's where the metric is, and it should stop right there. It's the fact that you had to bust your tail and play your tail off. It doesn't matter. So what if you win by 1? You won. That's a quality win, because they're good. If you go play UConn and you beat them, I don't care where that game is. That's a quality win. That's where the judgment should begin and end. Once you get past that, you start thinking mental. It's like, oh, I'm thinking out of the box. Can you imagine this? Oh, that's not good. Oh, yeah, people in the nut house do that. They think they're George Washington. They're thinking out of the box. There's something wrong there. That's not normal. Like, it's not. And that's where it needs to stop. If you got those wins, and I know you were upset about it, Rob, because you're like, Bob, you told me the other day, we had some good wins. Yeah, you did. Now, I looked it up after I talked to you. They said you had some bad losses. That's what they were saying on the computer. But I don't believe it, because those wins should have been enough, and 20 wins usually is enough to get a team in.
Our worst loss was Florida State at home.
Right.
but we got punished because in our losses we lost by a lot.
Right.
But a loss is a loss, a win is a win. Okay,
Right. Right.
someone like Michigan State gets in. What was they were like 19-14. Same with A&M,
That's right. They are 19 and 14. And I'll tell you what,
and they got like an 8 seed.
they're in because of Izzo. They're in because of Izzo, and because of their Michigan State, and they're this great Cinderella team that can win, and they've won it before with not great names on the team when they won it, just good players, not great ones. But no, it's because of Izzo and the fact that they're Michigan State. I mean, a lot of teams get the preference if you're good enough. If UCLA was over 500, they probably would have put them in, and they were 15 and 17. I mean, if they could have got that 17 and 15 instead, or beat one or against Oregon, they might have put them in because they're UCLA. And I love UCLA, but I'm telling that's the truth. I don't know. It just, I think an impressive win is an impressive win,
Road
and
wins, out of conference wins, and I would even consider tournament success of recent tournament success of your conference. Okay,
right,
if a conference gets 3 teams in the Elite Eight, that's pretty good.
right.
Okay, maybe they get a little emphasis, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think, and don't hold me to this, I believe there's 6 Mountain West teams, Bob, in the tournament.
There is, yeah.
Okay, and there was what, 3 Pac-12 teams, 3 Big East teams,
No, there's four. Only three
4.
were supposed to make it from the Pac-12. Four made it.
Okay, so to me that doesn't make any sense. You're going to tell me that if those Mountain West teams went against the Pac-12, overall, the Pac-12 is probably going to have a better record. If you went top to bottom, played those teams against each other, I think the argument can be made the Pac-12 would have done better. Do you agree?
Uh, if they played us, I mean, the Pac-12 was down this year. We just
It
get,
was down. I agree. The Pac-12 was down.
but we
But do
just
you
get
think the
better.
Mountain West Conference is a better conference?
No, because you know why? Because we're still the Pac-12, and we still get the better players, talent-wise. No,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. And
Um,
so, and you said the Pac-12 got 4. I mean, we're gonna peruse the bracket soon, but you said 4 got in.
I think so. Let's see. It's Washington State, Arizona, Oregon, and is there a fourth one? I thought there was a fourth one. I thought my brother said four. So when I talk with him, so um, let's see. Arizona State didn't. Washington, no, Washington didn't. Oregon, did Oregon State? No. Maybe it's only three. It could be three. Cal and Stanford didn't. Um, hmm, let's see. Oh wait, no. Did Utah make it? Or Colorado? No, they're the play-in.
Colorado is in the play-in game.
So that if they get in, that'll be their fourth. They have a chance to be in it though. That's four. Yep. So my brother was right for once. But no, it's that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, taking a look at this bracket, we both agree that UConn is the favorite.
Right.
Uh, do you see a team out there that is likely to also make a deep run? Who
Yeah.
who else is going to shine in this tournament, in your opinion?
Um. Hmm. Well, you know what? I think Purdue can, but the thing is, Painter is not that great a coach, and outside of the big man Edie, they really don't have. They're not all that deep, but they're good. I mean, he's tough. When you're that big and that good, it's hard to beat that kind of a team. Um, I would like to say Arizona could. I don't believe in Bama. I know they got a great offense, but I remember I actually bet them one day, and I mean, they did win, but they had to pull it out. They were playing terrible the whole game. They were down by almost 10 at one time late in the game. People are saying Tennessee. I do not believe in Tennessee. They do not have a good coach. Um, Let me think. Carolina. I don't know about you, Rob, but I don't believe in Carolina. I don't. I'm sorry. And that's your conference now, so you would know.
Oh, you
I
don't
don't.
have to apologize for anything about the ACC.
Right. They're definitely not the same ACC of the past. I can tell you that. Um, I don't believe in Kentucky. I know he's a great recruiter, but he can't coach. Houston too. I mean, they should make a deep run. They're good enough, but they have Kelvin Sampson, and he's never won anything big in his life, including when he was at Washington State. He had UCLA beat so many times coming down in UCLA, and he would blow the games, Games you would think that there's no chance you can blow them. 10 points with a minute to go, and the guy would blow them. I mean, or 2 minutes to go, and he'd blow them. Yeah. You know what? If I have to say one, watch out for James Madison. They
That
could
seems
go
to be a
wrong.
popular upset pick.
Yeah, and well, they won 30
The
games.
5-12, Wisconsin number 5, and JMU the 12.
Well, they're playing Duke in the second round, so Duke's not the same. I
So
mean,
you
you
don't
tell
think
me
the
if
Catamounts can upset the Dukies?
they could, but no, I don't think they're quite good enough. No, I don't. I don't think so. But I do think James Madison can take them out. I do, and I think they're going to take out Wisconsin too. I don't believe in those teams. I don't.
That seems to be a very popular upset pick. That's why I would, if I was betting on it, I wouldn't play that game. But I agree. JMU only has a few losses, right?
They are 31-3, I believe, or 30-3.
I
Something.
think you're right. So
Right.
yeah, and again, Bob, which conferences do you see excelling and not? Because to me, the Big Ten's going to bomb and the SEC is going to bomb.
I think the Big Ten's middle name is bomb. That's what they do every year. You said the ACC is going to bomb? Is that what you said?
I said the SEC is going to bomb
The
with the Big
SEC.
Ten.
Okay. Yeah, it could happen because Bama and Tennessee. I know Bama leads the nation in offense, which I do like. I love offense much more than defense because people don't realize you can't play defense the whole game in basketball and get away with it. Because once you get to play good teams, you can't stop them. At times you just can't. You play it when the big moments come. That makes the difference. That's when you do it. Tennessee's a joke, Rob. I don't believe in them. No. Auburn, watch out.
Yeah, Auburn, I would say, is probably the most dangerous SEC team.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. I think Bruce Pearl gets geeking. They could get to the Final Four.
Yeah, but
I think UNC.
I don't think they'll get to the Final Four because they'll have to play Connecticut. They're on their side, so I don't think it. But because Connecticut's there. If it wasn't for Connecticut being there, maybe.
I don't believe. I think UNC could make the Final Four. I don't think they get past the semifinal.
I have them losing to.
I don't have any other ACC team doing anything. In fact, I would not be surprised if New Mexico knocks off Clemson. Virginia could easily lose the playing game. I don't trust Duke at all. They're limping into this tournament, frankly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wanted your take on the ACC because Cuse is in it. So,
well, again, they only got 5 teams, the kind of bare minimum. I don't have Virginia. I don't see them doing anything. And frankly, Bob, just to sidestep the tournament a little bit.
right.
What do you think about this statement? Virginia is the worst good program ever.
It's 100% correct because, and my brother said Tony Bennett's a great coach or a good guy, and he is a good X's and O's. He's all defense though. I think the one year they won, I still can't believe they won.
It was the luckiest championship ever. I mean, it took multiple miracles in a row at the end.
Yeah. A throw up. The things went straight up, and you knew it was in the minute you let it go, and it went right in. I know. And there's no way they should have won that year. No, but you're right. They're the best team and the worst team at the same time because they don't have enough offense they definitely don't have enough offense every year to be a dynasty. And they were lucky to win the one that they did.
But I watch these teams play them, and they fall in the trap of trying to play ISO ball and slow it down, and that's exactly what they're looking for instead of keeping that ball moving, keeping things in motion. And I just don't think it's a difficult formula to beat, but they just keep winning.
One of the reasons that the teams play into it. I mean, when you're playing basketball, you can play 2 ways. You can play their style or yours. You got to get teams to play yours, and Virginia does do that. But what's helping them now is they're chucking threes, and they're not really playing. The other teams, they're not going to the basket. Go to the basket and make the passes and do the fundamental things. And once you get a lead on Virginia, they're finished. They can't catch you. They can't. because they can't score enough. They can't. But if they get a lead on you, they do play great D. So they can give you problems. They could. But I don't believe in them at all. I don't. I don't like teams that can't score. They lucked out the one year, and for Tony Bennett's sake, I'm glad because he's a nice guy. But you know, as a rule, I wouldn't bet him. I don't put stock in him. I don't.
No, I don't see them doing anything, and I don't frankly see Clemson doing anything. It wouldn't surprise me to see them lose in the first game, but I don't see them getting past Baylor in the second. Um, they
I don't
they
know too
they
much
frankly
about
got
them.
way too much credit. They beat two SEC teams early in the year, and then that just they've been a lock, but they kind of stumbled into the tournament. They lost their last two. Of course, they beat Syracuse on senior night with their transfer starting guard Joe Girard, who played for us for 4 years and then transferred. So, yeah, if I'm being totally honest, I'd like to see Clemson bow out relatively early.
Yeah.
In that game,
Yeah,
wish
okay.
I wish he had stayed with us. We could have used his leadership and his shooting, but he didn't stay, so he went to the other team. He's an opponent, but I don't see the ACC outside of Carolina doing anything this tournament. I really
No.
think Duke is gonna I don't think they'll lose, even if JMU. I think they'll get to Houston and lose Duke.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, do you think Cuse was better than Clemson?
No, I don't. Because they lost the two head-to-head games to them, and
Mm-hmm.
Clemson kind of had again. We Syracuse didn't have a center, so they had basically two centers on their team, and they used their size to their advantage. But I've seen them play in other games, and they play lackadaisical and slow, and they just weren't a good matchup for Syracuse. But in a normal year, if the ACC got seven teams in, we would have gone in. But again, because of the net and not beating teams by enough and losing by too much, we got punished. We weren't even in the discussion. While a 19-14 Michigan State team gets an 8 seed,
Right.
which is kind of ridiculous.
I know. You know what? Seton Hall and St. John's were pretty upset too.
Oh, I
Now,
think the Big East got hosed, Bob. I thought they deserved
yeah,
a couple teams, and I expect the teams that got in to do well.
you know what? Too, there's a team that I know got hosed, and they made him one of the first four out, and that's Indiana State.
Yeah,
And
I didn't follow them much. They were the real deal, huh?
oh, they were 20-2 at one time around. I mean, they had the best record since Larry Bird, and it looked like they were a lock. And then they lost a couple of games late, and they punished him and kicked them out. So to me, I don't think that was fair. And they were. I'm really upset they didn't make it because they were a good team and they never win it. And I'm not feeling bad because they never won it. But if you're a good team, especially since Larry Bird, that was a long time ago. You deserve to make it, and they didn't, which I thought was wrong. I really did.
And
But
what was Texas A&M's record this year? I know they finished seventh in the SEC, but they didn't
I
have
can,
that good of a record.
let me
All right,
see.
20-14, and I believe they got they get the 9 seed A&M.
Right. Yeah, they were the nine, and they played
Yeah, so
Nebraska in the first.
again, Syracuse 20-12, not in even considered at all remotely. A&M 20-14,
Right.
Michigan State 19-14, single digit seeds. I think that's ridiculous.
They're 20-14. They're 9-9 in the conference. And actually, Nebraska has a better record. They're 23-10, and they're 12-8 in the conference. So hey, you know what? I picked Nebraska for two reasons. They're pretty good, and they did beat Purdue this year at home. Matter of fact, they slugged them. They killed them, and I like Nebraska. They're kind of cool, So I kind of want them to win. I hope they beat A&M. I do, but we'll see.
Yeah,
But
we'll definitely.
yeah,
Again, I don't. Just looking around, I could see Nebraska losing that game too. It's the 8-9 game, Bob. They could lose.
they could lose. Absolutely, they could lose.
I could see FAU beating Northwestern too.
Uh,
That's another eight
yes, I
nine
can. And
game.
actually, I picked that on my bracket. So yeah,
Who did you have? FAU?
yes, I did.
I think they got everybody back from their Final Four run mostly.
Yeah, they're 25-8. Yeah, they have a much better
I
record,
mean,
really.
Michigan State could lose that first game to Mississippi State, another 8-9 game. I mean,
They actually could.
You're looking at a situation where a lot of Big Ten bows out early.
Don't they always?
Pretty much.
Actually, for that purpose, I'm glad we're going there because UCLA have a much of an advantage because those teams are overrated.
Yeah, you UCLA recruits itself. You'll get players. You need the right coach. That's all.
We need the right coach. We need the chancellor is leaving, fortunately, very, very soon, and the
Yep,
athletic
and
director is
you're
ready.
gonna have to get the bags out. You're gonna I know like you said they want to be Princeton, but they're gonna have to pay to play like everybody else now.
Right, right, yeah, and we're getting the athletic director is gone. He's going to be if he's not already. My brother said he's close to out. So, but
I
yeah,
do like Illinois from the Big Ten though. I think they could make some noise.
you do.
I do. I think, and I'm looking at. I mean, I could see them knocking off Iowa State and
You do.
getting to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I could see Illinois making some noise. They might be the one that gives UConn the scare.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you what, Rob. Let's see. They score 84 points a game. The second round, they're gonna have. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be tight. Like BYU is gonna give them a hard time, Rob. Like they are. And I mean, because BYU is 12th net rank in schedule, and Illinois is 13th toughest. Um, both teams they're 1-4 Illinois against the top 25, and they both score about the same amount of points and give up the same amount of points. Actually, Illinois gives up a few more. So I think BYU could take them out, Rob. Look, they're going to win their first game against Morehead State, obviously, but once they get to BYU, don't be surprised because that's going to be tough. You know,
Yeah,
BYU.
you think I think the Big 12 is pretty good, pretty tough. I mean, Houston's going to be good. I could see BYU. It wouldn't stun me if BYU upset Illinois. And like Iowa State is tough. They're good. I mean, the Big 12 is pretty good. Baylor's tough. I expect TCU to drop. I don't. Jamie Dixon just doesn't have tournament chops. They're going to be in a dogfight right away, and then I just don't see them being. I don't think. I think Purdue gets to the second weekend, and then I think Kansas will probably beat them.
You know what? And I guess it's because they're playing in the Big East. I just looked at UConn's strength of schedule. They're 80th, and
Yeah, the
Iowa
Big East
State.
got no love. Like I said,
Yeah,
you could have seen St. John's, Seton Hall, maybe even Providence be in the tournament.
and Iowa State is actually 35th in toughest schedule. So they're actually or 31st. I'm sorry. That's a lot better than 80th. So let's see. And a field goal percentage is slight UConn's. 3-pointers, slight UConn's. Foul shooting, big time UConn's. Iowa State doesn't even shoot 70% as a team, Rob. So that's not good. But I don't know. UConn's probably going to beat them, but
Yeah, I don't. I'm not high on Iowa State. I don't trust them in the tournament.
you don't. Okay. They're 27-7. That's a good record. But UConn's 31-3, and I saw them. Boy.
And we're
I
gonna
don't even
find out. San Diego State, where they went on the run last year again with very much older players. And by the way, I for one, I don't know about you, Bob. I am looking forward to these COVID super seniors that had all this extra eligibility to be moving on now. It's time to It's time to go. Your college playing days are over. You're 25 years old. It's time to move on.
right. You mean Bo Nix can't play for another 10 years?
I mean, that's the thing. I think the average is the youngest player on UNC 23. I'm not sure. I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. These kids played in the last decade. And I think if you were a freshman in the fall of 2020, 21, you're going to get another year. So I thought we were going to be done, but maybe we're not done with the COVID seniors yet. I don't
Let
know.
me tell you, let me tell you something about that, Rob. You're right. They're playing into their mid-20s. And you know what the scary thing is? They're not getting better. Like when kids went to college for 4 years and were out, by the time the fifth year came and they were in the pros, they were pros. They got better. These kids, they're not getting better. They're a joke. And like there ain't no upside if you don't get better. So if you're 25 and not better by that point, the upside's over.
I
That's in
mean,
your rear
UNC was in
view
that title
window.
game, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah.
Didn't get it done. Went to the ACC tournament final. They lost again to another team with a bunch of 25, fifth year. Everyone's a fifth year senior,
Yeah.
NC State, and I don't. Yeah, I don't think it wouldn't surprise me to see UNC not make the Final Four. But if I'm picking, I think they'll get a spot.
Mhm. Well, they could.
Who?
But
So
I don't,
so
I
so
got to tell
Bob,
you, I don't have them.
what team or teams do you think are going to flame out the worst?
Flame out the worst.
Like out the first, not getting out of the first weekend, but should.
Mm.
I mean, we've covered some of that already, but maybe put a little microscope on it.
Who do I think is going to lose quick?
Yes.
Mm.
Who shouldn't?
Out of the first weekend? Okay. Mm, right. Who shouldn't?
I'm going to go. I think Marquette's going to bow out early.
They could, Rob. And their guy, I saw them play that night. Their best player didn't play. He's got to play. If he don't play, they ain't going nowhere. Creighton's going to bow out quick because they were pretty high ranked all year, but they're going to get beat, Rob.
So, okay. So you think Creighton's going to stumble?
They're going to stumble out of the first weekend. Okay, the first game they got at Akron, it's not going to be easy. I think the second game they're going to lose. I think Oregon's going to beat South Carolina and then beat Creighton because Dana Altman's a great coach. He is, seriously. He finds ways to win even when his team is not the best. He's good.
I agree. Oregon just seems to show up, don't they?
Yeah, they show up and then you know what it is? The way they do it, because they don't have the talent they used to. It's almost like they play chess with you. Like they're watching you make the moves and then they counter. And then after they counter, you lose. You're checkmated. You can't, you can't, you have no answer. And that's how they are. I mean, didn't shock me at all. We almost beat them. I mean, we lost to them by 2 points. UCLA lost to them by 2 points. And my brother was all scared. Oh, UCLA has it easy. He always says that. But I said, no, Oregon's not easy. Even when they're not as good, they're not easy. And the team that's disappointed me a lot, and I'm really shocked at this, is Arizona. I thought sure as heck, in the early part of the year, and I knew they were going to beat Duke on the first line. I picked that. They beat them in Duke too. And I was like, this team, this year, and all of a sudden they started to lose, and they started to lose. And my brother always wants my advice. So when he'll brag to his friends and go, and they'll go, oh, you're so smart. No, I'm the one that's giving him the advice. And usually I'm right about it. But Arizona has bombed. But I do think they're going to come out of the West. I think they're going to beat North Carolina. I do. And actually, I think Bama is going to beat Carolina, and then they're going to beat Bama. Is what I think. And Nevada's good too. That's a pretty tough bracket right there. But Baylor's going to bomb too. I don't trust Baylor. No, they won the 1 year. They were good, but I don't trust them. They're undisciplined. I don't trust them. And the Zags aren't going to go far this year. They're not as good as they were. But I think Zona is still going to come out. And if they do, Rob, they'll have to play UConn in the Final Four first game. Could they beat them? Only for one reason. And that's because the Final Four is in Phoenix. So it'll be a home game. 2 home games, really, if they get there. But it's going to be a hard order beating UConn, let me tell you. I actually got 3 number 1s in my Final Four pick and a number 2, and Zona's the 2. But I have used. Go ahead.
I have no faith in Arizona. I don't think they'll be in the Final Four. They've been hyped now for the last couple of years and haven't got it done. And I think it'll be the same. Just looking at their path, I mean, they're going to win the first 2 games for sure. And they might, you know what? I think they'll make the Elite Eight and they're going to lose.
Okay.
And they're going to lose bad in the Elite Eight. They're going to get owned.
Okay. Well, you know what, Rob?
Because honestly, I don't think they're going to be challenged by the Dayton or Nevada, whoever wins that. I don't think they're going to be that challenged by either Baylor or Clemson. I just don't.
mhm. You know what? Okay. Were you shocked? Because I know I was. Everybody, there was so many, number one seeds in these conferences, 18, I believe, that lost. Okay. And UConn was like one of the few that didn't.
Yeah,
Um,
the top number one of the
they
four
all
number one
lost.
seeds, only UConn won their conference tournament,
That's
right?
right. Now, they didn't drop Houston from number one in their bracket. They didn't drop Purdue. They didn't drop UConn, obviously, because they won. But they did drop Arizona and put North Carolina. Did that tick you off? Because it shocked me. It didn't tick me off, but I was stunned. I couldn't believe it because everybody
What, you were
lost.
surprised UNC got the one?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
I
Yes.
wasn't shocked, but I didn't. I thought they were going to get it too.
Yeah. Well, I thought because everybody else lost, they should have just given that to Arizona as a one, because everybody lost. And but they didn't. They didn't. They gave it to a team that lost to North Carolina State, you know. Um, and a team
In
that
their
wasn't
defense, that was just a kind of that was a historic run. I don't think it's getting enough credit. The 5-5 has never happened in the ACC.
really.
I don't see NC State doing much of anything.
No.
I could see them win the first game though. I mean, but they're not getting past Kentucky.
Yeah, assuming Calipari doesn't blow it with his coaching style. But but you know what, Ron? Let me tell you, I still think that Zona should have been one in the West, and I'm shocked that they put North Carolina in there because um, when you lose, you should be. I understand NC State was hot and they made the run, but still, North Carolina was much better, and they should have beat them, and they didn't. So that, and they didn't get punished for it. They stayed. As a matter of fact, they got bumped up, not bumped down. So, I don't know. I really and because of it, if I'm Arizona, I'd be mad. So I'd be playing for something now. I'd be like, oh, okay, we're going to show you who's number one. So I did pick them to get to the Final Four against UConn, but I got UConn taking them out. And then Houston, I did put them number one, but you know what, that team. And by the way, their guard is hurt, right? He's been out for the year. He tore his knee or whatever. Their best player, but still, they're good. And I got
Yeah,
Purdue there.
I think Houston's going to go on a run, but they will burn out eventually. So Bob, who is going to be? It's not even the Cinderella, just the shocker, the team that comes out of nowhere and goes on a deep run that no one expected to.
Okay. Um, mm, okay. People are saying Samford's going to beat Gonzaga. That could be. That could happen. I think they have one of the best players that's going to be like an NBA star. They're
Who do they
saying
think? Samford is not.
Samford.
Samford's not playing Gonzaga.
No, no, no. In the second round, I believe they are.
Well, Gonzaga's playing McNeese, and some
The
people are
first
picking
game.
McNeese to beat Gonzaga.
I think Stanford's going to beat Kansas.
You think Samford's going to beat Kansas?
Yes, because you know what? Kansas has two injuries to two good players, and
So
they're definitely not.
that's your big upset pick right there.
Yeah, because you know what? I know they got the coach, but they don't have the team. Still need the team, and they're definitely not as good as they were. And it's either Samford or McNee. One of those two have like a superstar player that's going to be a great player in the NBA. They're saying a great player. So, and you know who else is going to could make a pretty good run, Rob? Grand Canyon. I believe they have 30 wins. They're
They've
pretty
been
good.
knocking on the door of a run for a while. They're now a fixture in the tournament. They make it
Yeah,
every
they're pretty good. Let me tell you.
now. Does Dan Marley still run that show?
I do not know. He may. But in any case, and my guess is yeah, probably. I mean, um, but they're good, like real good. So
Yeah,
this,
I totally could see them beating St. Mary's. I would probably. I think that could be the big 12-5. The classic 12-5 upset.
mhm.
Yeah, everyone loves this. What is the popular one? The JMU over Wisconsin, And a lot of people like McNeese over Gonzaga, but I like Grand Canyon over St. Mary's. And then, yeah, they could beat Alabama too. Alabama is they're gonna slip, I think.
I just all you got to do. They have a lot. Sears, I believe Sears is his name. The guard, he's their best player. If you can just control him a little bit, Bama can be taken out. You know what I'm saying? They can. You just got to stop one guy because they have a great offense, but you got to stop or at least curb the one guy just enough, and then you get into a position where you can take them out and beat them. But um, I think, and I don't trust Bama. I don't know how good their coach is. Remember the year they were good when UCLA made the Final Four and we took them out?
I don't trust Alabama. I
I don't
think
either.
Nate Oates has hiccups in the tournament
Yep.
with his teams. They get highly touted, but they didn't do anything. They haven't done anything yet.
Right.
So I'm gonna assume that's gonna continue. It's until proven otherwise with me when it comes to the tournament. Until proven otherwise, you're going down.
Right.
Now, my shocker to go deep, and it goes against what I've been saying about the conference, the Big Ten. I think Illinois has some really good athletes on that team, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them make a run. Um,
Okay.
I probably just doomed them because again, I don't believe in the Big Ten, but they don't look like a Big Ten team to me.
Right.
They remind me more of they seem like more SEC Big 12 when I watch them.
Actually, I want to say the coach is the reason why I think that was the guy that was Stephen F. Austin that when they were good.
Yeah, Brad Underwood. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
pretty
amazing.
good.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a great coach. UCLA could have hired him and they didn't, which they should have. But um, but yeah, no, he's great. Like, and I think that's a big reason that they're really doing well. He's good. He's a good coach.
Yeah,
Um,
I think FAU is going to beat Northwestern, and I think they'll be in the game against UConn for a little while. It might take to the second half of the second half for UConn to pull away, but I think they'll give them a game.
well, Xavier did at the Big East tournament in the first half. They were only down a point. They were winning most of the first half.
I was of the opinion had FAU beaten San Diego State, which I thought they should have, that they would have gave UConn a better battle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um,
I'm kind of tired of San Diego State. I personally just would like to see them go away now.
why?
I just to me it's mid-major love that's getting too much love. It's like, okay, you had your I think they have the potential to go the way of Miami. Okay, Miami finally broke the hump. They went to their first ever Final Four, and then they went back into their place. I think I'd like to see San Diego State go back to their place. So now all San Diego State fans will hate me for all time, but
Right.
again, I'm not the expert on the show. I'm the fan that's a co-host. I just think I'm ready for them to bow out. I'd rather see it. I'd rather see FAU go on a run than San Diego State.
Wow. Wow. I mean, look, they went on a run
I
last
don't think Auburn is losing to them in the second. I think San Diego State loses the second game.
to Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn's going to beat them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now in the next game, that would pit UConn against Auburn, and I just think UConn will beat them. Auburn's good,
Yeah,
and
it should be a good game, but I think UConn takes it.
yeah, right. I mean, Auburn did beat Florida the other day for the conference. They beat them pretty bad, actually. But yeah, I mean, and it's funny, Rob. I wasn't going to go to these games, but my friend just knocked on the door, and he goes, "Let's go." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Which I real my main purpose for going, and and I'll tell you, I knew one of the players' fathers for St. John's because he played at UCLA with Jack Haley, and he's good friends with him, and I was great friends with Jack too.
Bob, I don't mean to interrupt you. Hold your thought, but we do a commenter on the show, Smart and Final. I remember him. He said Bryce Drew is the Grand Canyon coach.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for correct. I said I wasn't sure. Thank you. Um, He's doing a hell of a job, let me tell you. Excuse me. But I didn't, and I think they can. Canyon's going to make some noise. They're good. But anyway, let me tell you, my main purpose for wanting to go to that tournament was not only to see, the player's father, because my brother knows him and I knew his best friend. I was best friends with his best friend. And who was a player. They were all players on UCLA with Reggie Miller. I knew them all. And but I also wanted to see UConn because I used to go to net games every single night for the better part of 15 years, no lie. And I would get tickets from the players. And the one thing I always liked to do when I went was to go and see the whole league and to see who was really good and who was lying to me on television and hyping teams up. And I knew, so I could never be fooled. They'd be like, oh, and this one is going to do this and that one's going to, they ain't that good. They ain't going to do it. No. But I knew because I would go and watch it firsthand. I wanted to see UConn firsthand. And I did. And believe me, they do it. The one night I went, the center had a bad game. He was dominant inside on defense, though. Offensively, he only scored like 6 points. But the next night against Marquette, what did he score? 30, 25, 30, something in there? Yeah, he was dominant. They can beat you so many ways. They have two guards that can shoot the lights out. And then they got the other guys who are solid. And then they got the big man. They have an answer for everything you throw at them. And Hurley coaches like his father. Not Bobby Hurley, mind you, but Danny. He coaches like his father at St. Peter's. He is so fundamental, and there's a reason that he was successful for all those years. And he passed it on to Danny. They cut, they slash, they're fundamental. They only use the three when they need to use it, and that kid can shoot it. Let me tell you. But they can do everything. They do the little things right, and they got a dominating big man. And in fairness to St. John's was the second best team I seen there. With all due respect to Creighton, and I thought Seton Hall was kind of overrated. They're not very good. But St. John's is. And Patino can coach. And they got a big man. He's a monster. And maybe that's why UConn's big man only had 6 points that night against them. Because the one thing I know about big men, you'll get a lot of points that can dominate when the other team's not that big. But when you have to play against a guy your height, with your toughness, if you can dominate him, you're a great player. And he really didn't dominate the St. John's guy. He didn't. It's just St. John's just didn't have enough. And even with that being said, they were in that game and could have took the lead in the second half quite a few times. But UConn had an answer every time. And believe me, my brother told me when Patino got the job, he's like, don't worry, he's going to get the kids in. Oh, yeah, he is. They're going to be relevant and dominant real soon. I can see it coming. And all this stuff about, Holloway and Seton Hall. No. Creighton. Oh, yeah, we're here. And by the way, Rob, I got interviewed by the Creighton sports show. So somewhere out there, my interview, because they came into the restaurant we were in, we got interviewed. I
during the Big East tournament?
Yeah, the first day. It was the Creighton bar, if you will, or bar restaurant. Because we went in to eat. We got there early, my friend and I, and they were interviewing fans. They came all the way from Nebraska. And I said, hey, sir, why don't you interview me? I used to work at ESPN. My brother's a trainer at UCLA. And he just came over and he just started interviewing me. And I said, hey, Steve, you want in? Because he was a great basketball player, my friend. He goes, no, Bob, you take it. And he let me take it. And he was asking me about Coach Wooden and UCLA and the campus and what I thought about the tournament. And, we had a great interview. And that was the start of the day. That wasn't even before the game started. So it was a lot of fun.
We're going to have to fire up our search engines to find that video, Bob.
I know. And also when you're at it, you might want to, I don't know how you're going to find this, but somewhere in Cincinnati, Ohio, my picture with Sean Miller is there because the lady who took the picture put it in their sports department. I didn't even get the picture. I didn't even get it. She took it. It wasn't my camera. But But yeah, so I'm hanging on somebody's wall in Ohio, in Cincy. But
So Bobby, let's take a look here. Who do you got in the final four? What's your final four?
okay, and then okay, I have believe it or not, I know the ones can get snipped. They always seem to, but I have UConn. I got Zona, the two, to play them in the first game, and then I got Houston and Purdue. And can Purdue lose? Yes, but so can Houston because they always seem to choke out. A couple times they got unlucky in the past. They probably should have won the games they lost, but they have a pretty terrible coach, and he always seems to blow it in the end. That one year wasn't his fault. The guy hit a half court shot with no time left. I mean, they pulled the Gonzaga on us that one year when Suggs did it. But um, but yeah, but they have lost many a game. And when he was at Washington State, he lost many a game. And when he was in the NBA, I think he was in the NBA for a while. He lost many a game. So yeah, but I will pick Houston. They still are. They score a lot of points, Rob, and they're very tough. And I got Purdue, and I have Purdue knocking them off. Although, the Big Ten, they're slow. See, that's the one thing about the Big Ten. Everything's slow. They're not quick, and Houston is. So, and Painter is not that great a coach. So, who's going to outsuck the other, as I always say, And in this case, both coaches kind of suck. So, who's going to outsuck the other? I mean, it's a flip 'em. I did pick Purdue. I do like Edie. I think he's going to be a good pro. He's a big man, and they're hard to come by. It's just sad that no one uses them anymore. Big men, they should. Those are the teams that win it, and people don't get that because their brains are totally frozen. I do got Purdue. I do got UConn in the final, and I got UConn winning it all. What about you?
Yeah, I think those are good picks, Bob.
Yeah.
Obviously, we agree on the final champion.
Mhm. You
So
got
I
Purdue.
say again.
You got Purdue in the final game.
No, I don't have the same final four of you, but I got UConn in the final winning. So
Okay.
obviously UConn in from the East, and
Mhm.
then I just think North Carolina with their experience 2 years ago, and sorry, the dogs hearing
That's
some
okay.
noise outside. But anyways,
That's okay.
North Carolina's run 2 years ago, everyone being back, I think they will pick up the steam. They're going to come in angry. They know they should have won that ACC tournament. So you'll have UConn against UNC with UConn winning that game. I'll
Okay.
have Houston. I think they'll go to the Final Four and they're going to lose that game. It's where I'm struggling is with the Midwest. I'm
Hmm.
struggling to find who's going to come out of there.
Hmm.
I just can't do. I can't pick a Big Ten team. I don't like the Big Ten, the SEC. I don't. I think they will bow out. So to me, I see the Midwest as a bit of a crapshoot. And so if I have to pick one, I think Rick Barnes does get Tennessee into the Final Four. I think again,
Wow.
you're looking at them playing Texas, who they should beat,
Hmm.
and then a potential Creighton or Oregon matchup. I don't see South Carolina going past the 2 rounds, and I think Tennessee just has better players in those teams, and they'll get in. But if they do, well, I did just say I had Houston losing the Final Four, so I'm going to have Tennessee and UConn in the final with UConn winning.
If that happens, UConn will be dancing. Like, they call us the big dance. They'll be dancing all day because they'll be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Rick.
I know you're not high on Rick Barnes, but
No.
I think they're pretty talented as a team.
Uh-huh. I know. I don't think they're gonna get. I mean, I'm not saying they can't do it, and I'm not saying they won't do it, but I think they won't do it. I just don't. I mean, um they're gonna have to beat Purdue. Could they? Yes, but Purdue can beat them too. So it's because of Edie. Like Purdue, they probably might not even be in the tournament was for that kid. Because the rest of the team, they only have one other shooter. I watched them play against you guys. You played them this year, right? Did you play Purdue?
No, Syracuse did not play Purdue.
Okay. Who did I watch them play? Because I bet it. and they won. They actually skunked me. I had like the other team in 10 points. Michigan State, maybe it was Michigan State. Um, but yeah, I know I lost. I remember that part. But yeah, like I just don't. I don't know. He's so good.
So, now that you made your final four picks,
Yeah,
is there a team that you want personally to see win this thing? Who would you like to win?
UCLA, but they can't. And
Who
by the
could
way,
actually potentially win?
yeah, I know. Who would I like to see win? Just win?
Yeah.
Okay. How great would it be if James Madison won? That'd be awesome. Because they're not supposed to, but they're good. Um, let me see. Let me go down the list. Uh,
Yeah, and I guess who would you idealistically want to win, and who do you want to win that actually has a realistic chance?
oh, okay. Well, just for fun,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do the fun first. Nebraska, because they never won it. Uh, we know they're not though. And James Madison, because they never won it. They actually have a sort of a legitimate chance because when you're 31-3, hmm, hmm. And that's the other thing I wanted to say. Let me go over this for Utah State, maybe. Hmm. Oh man,
I
these,
know
these
for me, idealistically, if I could pick I'd like to see Grand Canyon win.
the Grand Canyon. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I like that.
But realistically, I don't think they can.
Right, and that's the thing.
Now, who potentially could? Because they did go on a run last year, even though I think they'll lose the second game. I wouldn't mind if FAU went and won it,
Right. Yeah, but that second game is
but
a
they got to go against UConn.
yes, sir. And I just don't see that. I mean, and because they made the run last year, and I was there by the way in Madison Square Garden, in the regionals, but I saw them play. But they probably won't because usually the next year you don't make it as far. So, unless you're a legendary team that can't be stopped, kind of like UConn are going to win again. But yeah, um, who could win it? Mm, I don't know. I guess you know what? Maybe Creighton could get. No, because they'll get killed. Nevada. How about that? There is a chance because they've got a great record. Actually, I think does Alford coach there? I believe he does, right? Steve coaches there. I
What
believe he's the
team?
coach. Nevada. Yes, I believe he does. Because for a while there, they were at a tremendous record at the beginning of the year. I
Is
think Steve
Nevada in the
coach.
tournament?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They play Long Beach State University first game. Yes, sir. Oh no, I'm sorry. They play my bad. They play Dayton in the first game. Yep. And I got them beating them too. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Nevada winning that game.
I
I
believe
could see him
Steve
winning handily.
I believe Steve Alford's the coach. I believe.
But
Like
Bob, the hour is striking late for me, my friend.
um,
Unfortunately, as it's fun going over all these matchups and all the games, but sadly, we're in a position where there's always next year, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah. That's we just need to recruit players that are really good.
You
And
need to
we need
buy
to open
players. Let's be honest. We have, Syracuse, get out your wallet. You're getting it out for football. We got to
right,
get it out for basketball. Just
right.
pay them, get them in, and so we can win. Let's go.
We got to get them in, and then we got to let the offense play offense. We got to loosen up the offense, let them go, and score because we're not doing that. We're holding them back, and that's what's killing us.
Closing thoughts before we wrap up, Bobby.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rob. I didn't hear that.
What's your closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Okay. My closing thought. It's gonna be fun. It always is, and I'm sure everybody will have a good time. And yeah, it looks like UConn's getting a little close to 11. But I can't see anybody stopping them. But and also, we'll keep going on the show, and hopefully we'll get more people to watch us. So please like and subscribe and all that stuff. But
Yes. Keep liking, keep subscribing. You never know. We might get some guests on here again.
yeah,
As
because
you can see,
we've
there's
had
no
some
set schedule. It just happens when it happens.
right. And by the way, we've had, for people that don't know, we've had a lot of stars on this show. We have.
Scroll
So
down the page. We'll look at the old shows from a couple years ago.
right.
We did have some Hall of Famers on here, and we've had some good shows, Bob.
I really don't know what happened to Reese. He was supposed to come on, the man from England by way of Miami. I call him the
Something
golf.
tells me Reese will be on when we talk about the NFL.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Miami. Yeah. The water spout from the Gulf Stream. He'll be blowing in here. Um, but no, I really don't know what happened to him. But yeah, I it's gonna be a fun tournament. But again, I just don't see anybody beating UConn. I just don't.
We'll do a when the Final Four comes. We'll do a recap of the games that led up to it, and we'll cover the Final Four for sure.
Right. That sounds good. Yes.
Alrighty, signing off for the Sports Show with Bob Spino. This is Rob.
This is Bob.